Start करें?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can start.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamati Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Hare Krishna. Welcome once again to the series called Decoding the Gita, where we are planning to complete one chapter in one session. And today we are focusing upon the third chapter, one of the most important chapters. It is called Karma Yoga. The word yoga comes from yujya. Yujya means to link, to connect. And as soon as we speak about linking, connecting, that means minimum two objects are involved. So yoga actually means linking with the Supreme Lord. Just breathing in and breathing out is not called yoga. It is simply an exercise. But yoga actually means when we link with the Supreme. That could be through our karma, through our dhyana, through our jnana, and through our bhakti. And that is the art which Bhagavad Gita is teaching. How to connect with the Supreme Lord through our jnana, dhyana, karma, and bhakti. So therefore, we uh, are focusing on this one concept, and many people talk about it also. I'm a karma yogi, I'm a karma yogi. But what does it mean? Do we actually know what a karma yogi means? The Gita is called Yoga Shastra. It is not a Vyoga Shastra. Vyoga means separation or disconnect. Many people have this misconception that if we start studying the Gita, we'll have to give up this, give up that. No, Gita is not teaching that. It is not a Vyoga Shastra, it is a Yoga Shastra. That is why the word yoga, yujya, all these words related to yoga appear at least 150 times in the Gita. So it is the main theme. So Krishna has actually finished speaking the Gita in the second chapter. But then Arjuna has a doubt. Because towards the end of the second chapter, Krishna has spoken about controlling one's mind and senses, focusing the mind and intelligence on the Supreme, cultivating knowledge. So Arjuna finds it contradictory. He said, on one side, Krishna, you are asking me to fight, that means work. On the other side, you are asking me to control senses, fix the mind and intelligence on the Supreme Lord. So should I work or not? Which one is better? So he is thinking that they are separate. They are not complementary. So in response to his question, Krishna starts answering. Because there are two things here. We must know that whatever we do in this world, there is a reaction. Whatever we do, there is going to be a reaction. Even if we perform pious activities, there is going to be a reaction. Even if we perform sinful activities, there is going to be a reaction. And both are binding. Both keep us bound to the cycle of birth and death. So to be or not to be, that is the question. We can also think sometimes, if working in this world, no matter what we do, even if we do pious activities, we get a reaction. Then the next thought could be, then stop working. But then Krishna says, then you will get another reaction for not performing your duty. If somebody says, I'm a policeman, but I'm not going to shoot the criminal because it is violence, I might get a sinful reaction. He may avoid that reaction, but then another reaction will come, which is related to not performing your prescribed duty. So whether you work in this world or you don't work, you can't avoid the reaction. So the third choice, which Arjuna was trying to exercise, he was thinking, since working in this world has a reaction, so one thing is, I will not fight, I will not work. But then there is another reaction in store. Then the best is, he's thinking, if I am a Kshatriya, then I have to fight. So I might as well change my occupation only. And I become a sannyasi, I can go to the forest, I can live by begging. But then Krishna answers, not doing your work will also not help, because everybody is born with a particular nature and one is forced to work according to that nature, no matter how many situations you try to change. Uh, for example, if Arjuna, Krishna is indicating that if you go and try to live by begging, suppose you one day you go out begging, and the nature of begging is some days you will get something, some days you will be insulted, some days you will be ridiculed, you may not get what you want. And because you have a Kshatriya nature and Kshatriyas cannot hear no, so therefore uh, you will act like a Kshatriya in the dress of a sannyasis. You will not be doing justice to a sannyas ashram or to the Kshatriya ashram. So changing the situation will also not help, because you have a particular nature and you have to work according to that. And we cannot even maintain our body if we don't work. The soul by nature is active. Try just lying down in your house for 10 days without doing anything. We won't be able to maintain our body also, right? So what to do then? If we work in this world, there is a reaction. If we do not work in this world, there is a reaction. Everybody is born with a particular nature, and that nature is acquired from the activities which we have performed in the past life by making various choices. So what should we do? And then Krishna answers. Very beautiful verse. In the ninth verse, he says, Yagyarthat karmano nitra loko vayam karma bandhana. That therefore every work must be performed as an offering to me, as an offering to Lord Vishnu, for his satisfaction. Everything should be for his satisfaction. And he says, Yagyarthat, you should perform yagya. And yagya means for the pleasure of the Lord. Now it has an internal and an external meaning as well. It means, internally it means that you must act in this world for his pleasure also. Now, how we can do it on a practical level, I mean externally, that we'll be discussing a little later. But internally, Krishna is indicating to us that you must perform activities which are pleasing to me. And that is chanting his names, remembering him, offering our prayers to him, glorifying him, hearing his message, his katha, studying scriptures, worshipping him, worshipping his form. So this is called life of connection. As I said, we don't have to reject anything. Gita doesn't teach the path of, or recommend the path of rejection. It recommends the path of connection, that whoever you are, whatever nature you are born with, you have to act according to that. So use that nature to connect with the Supreme Lord. So now how we can do that, we'll discuss a little later. But essentially he is saying that along with working in this world, if you also remember me, then your work will become free from karma. Then it will have no reaction, because you are working for my satisfaction. That means every day some time must be dedicated for remembering the Lord, for serving him, worshipping him, hearing about him, chanting his names primarily. So what this will mean is that when we are doing our worldly duties also, because of our time that we have exclusively spent to connect with him, we'll be able to remain connected with him throughout the day. And it is explained that when we work in this world, whatever we are doing, if we do it while remembering the Lord, then that work becomes free from karma. So we don't have to stop working, but we have to start working in the right consciousness for his pleasure. And he's pleased when we are working at the same time remembering him. And in order to be able to remember him, we need to hear about him. We need to spend some time exclusively hearing, knowing him, chanting his names, worshiping him, so that we can carry him in our consciousness throughout the day. So this way, then when we work in this world, we don't get any reaction. So one meaning of this particular verse, that do it as a yajna, do it for my satisfaction, that we spend, because our whole life is only centered around I, me, and mine. Everything for myself, my money, my home. And people are so envious of God. No, I'm just happy being good, doing good. Why do you need God? I don't believe in him. That's a sign of envy, deep rooted envy. That's why that repulsion is there. We may not accept it, but that is a fact. So because it's so deep rooted. So people thinking, uh, I don't like to connect, whatever. But essentially, we have to spend some time connecting with him. This is one reason. And external reason, he says, yajna, do it for my pleasure. Essentially, actually, the souls are parts and parcels of Krishna. And every moment we are supposed to serve God. We are his parts and parcel. The nature of the soul is to love and serve God. And by default, we have been made in such a way that we can only be happy when we are connected with him. So internally, he's saying that do something for my pleasure also. Then with that, empowered with that, when you go out into this world, naturally, because you spend time connecting with him, you will not do or engage in activities which are displeasing to him. You will not cheat, you will not exploit, you will have a divine consciousness. People with divine consciousness, how can they exploit others? So automatically, when we spend some time every day connecting with him, then we develop a divine consciousness. Then we don't like to hurt others. We don't engage in immoral activities. And that way, when we lead such a lifestyle, we gradually get purified, more and more elevated. Now, external meaning of this verse, yajna arthat, actually he's asking us to do yajna because he says we are born with a particular nature. Now, the Lord has divided the society into four varnas and ashramas. Now, four varnas means Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Now, please understand, this is not casteism. Casteism, हम लोगों ने उसको बना दिया है. Looked down upon. The Lord doesn't look down upon anybody. So, what is this varnashram system? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Suppose we are in this lifetime, we make certain choices, we develop a particular type of consciousness and intelligence. So, Karmana Deva Netrina, there are higher authorities in the universal government of the Lord. They see what kind of consciousness we have developed, and accordingly, the next body is given to us. That's why Krishna says that whatever state of being you remember at the last moment, to that very state you shall attain without fail. Our last thoughts, our consciousness at the last moment will decide our next body and destination. So, the consciousness is very, very important, and therefore, we have to be more and more careful cultivating a divine consciousness, because we are born with a, whenever the person dies, the gross body is left behind, but the consciousness goes with the soul. Depending on the state of consciousness, next body, next family, next destination, we are born with that consciousness. Now, there are 8.4 million species of life, all different kinds of bodies, all fall in the category of different consciousness. There are modes of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. This whole, everything that happens in this world is under the three gunas: mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. They are like the three departments. Whatever choices we make uh, fall into these categories only: mode of goodness, or passion, or ignorance. So accordingly, the bodies also have been defined, and accordingly, we have a different type of intelligence, faith, the tastes we have, attraction or repulsion. All this nature we have acquired from the past choices that we have made in the past lives. So now the Lord knows He does not directly get involved in this. Now we are leaving this world with a particular type of consciousness now. Now there are authorities in place who decide that, okay, division has been done by Krishna only. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra broadly has classified society into four varnas. Now there are authorities who decide, okay, this person has this kind of consciousness, he will be better situated in a Brahmana family, in a Kshatriya family, because he likes to rule, protect, passionate. So Kshatriya, somebody who's business minded, okay, Vaishya family, somebody who's not so intelligent or like who would be happy serving, Shudra family. So none of these are like high and low. These societies, these divisions, Krishna says, Chaturvarnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagsha. He doesn't say it is divided according to guna, according to caste. He says according to guna and karma. So where is the question of caste system? Where is the question of higher and lower? According to guna and karma, this division is done. And everybody is born with a particular nature. And then Krishna has also defined everyone's duties. Now, when Krishna is asking us to perform yagyas for his satisfaction, basically yagya means for the pleasure of the Yageshwar. Yageshwar is Krishna. So when Krishna is asking us to perform yajna, basically he's asking us to engage in activities to please him. And how is a person pleased? Suppose I tell somebody to do something and if that person does it, then I become pleased. So Krishna has divided the society into Varna Ashram, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and then he also has defined their duties. Brahmana, you do this, Kshatriya, you do this, Vaishya, this is your duty, Shudra, this is your duty. This is more elaborately explained in chapter number 17 and 18. Three modes. Such an important topic that chapter number 13 to 18 only talk about these three gunas. That's why that part of the Bhagavad Gita is called Jnana Yoga. Now, for Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Krishna has defined their duties. And duties are defined according to how much they can handle. Krishna knows their caliber. So, a Brahmana is not expected to do the duty of a Shudra. He has a different consciousness. This is what will suit him. He has acquired that from the past. So one is born as a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra according to his previous guna and karma. But look at Krishna's magnanimity. He's like that magnanimous teacher. He has four types of students. One student is very intelligent. He has studied hard, so he's expected to come to the examination hall and answer the questions. Then we have a student who says, "Sir, पूरा नहीं पढ़ा है." So he says, teacher says, okay, जितना पढ़ा है, जितना आता है, उतना लिख देना. Write as much as you know. Then we have the third category of student who says, sir, बिल्कुल नहीं पढ़ा है. So the teacher says, okay, write whatever you want. And then the fourth type of student comes as, he doesn't even know how to write. Teacher says, you just come and sit in the examination hall. And if you all do what I ask you to do, all of you will get 100 out of 100. Isn't that the magnanimity of the teacher? Now, these students are not qualified according to their guna and karma, but teacher is saying, just do this much. You are expected to do this much only. You are expected to do this much only. So that is called yajna. So society, now Krishna is talking about ideal society. You just don't keep working. Work with knowledge. Know who you are. You have a particular nature. According to the nature, varna, you have a particular mentality. So according to you have decided the duties. So yajna basically means when Krishna is asking us to do yajna, that means perform these duties that he has prescribed. That way he'll be pleased. Then our work will become yajna. Brahmanas ka duties kya hai? Patan, patan, yajan, yajan. Kshatriyas rule, protect exact taxes. Vaishyas do business, cow protection, farming, economics, all that. And Vaishyas serve others. Sorry, Shudras serve the other three classes. And if everyone does his duties properly, then the Lord will be pleased and they will all get His unlimited grace. All will reach the same destination. Because without connecting with Him, it's not that we just have to live in this world. We are supposed to connect by default. We have been made in such a way that we can only be happy when we are connected to Krishna, when we are connected to God. In the second chapter, Krishna has spoken the secret of happiness. He says, if one is not connected to the divine, then there is no question of having a steady mind and intelligence. If one does not have a steady mind and intelligence, there's no question of having peace. And if there is no peace, there's no question of having uh, happiness. So essentially, to become happy, we need to connect with Him, and that is the path of Karma Yoga. That either we are a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra-like mentality, from wherever we are at, we need to connect with Him. So Krishna is very, very kind. Now he has explained the process of how to connect with Him in text number 10 to 15 or 16. And why does He uh, create that environment where we can connect with Him? Because He knows we can only be happy when we're connected with Him. Just like children, wherever they go, they can be completely happy only when they are back with their parents. So it is not a matter of choice whether we want to connect, should connect, or should not connect. It is an absolute necessity. If we want to be happy, we have to connect. That's it. And happiness is our eternal quest. And the Supreme Creator, the Supreme Lord, has explained in the Gita, if you want to be happy, connect with me. Otherwise, you will not have steady mind, intelligence, or peace. And without them, there is no possibility of experiencing happiness. So now, Krishna wants to connect us. There are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. But most of the people in this world, they are not at all interested in God. Most of the population. And they don't know, they are looking for happiness, but they don't know how to get that happiness. But Krishna knows, and He wants to connect us. So He has tricked all of us. He tricks all of us. What are we interested in? Mostly selfish, in the fulfillment of all our desires, material desires. We have material desires, we just bothered about that. So we keep running around trying to fulfill those desires. So Krishna, right from the beginning of the creation, creates a system where now He knows that we are not interested in Him, only interested in desires. And we have come to this world trying to live a life independent of Him. And He wants to see us happy. He wants to fulfill our desires also, because unless our desires are fulfilled, how will we think of Him? That's what He also knows. How will become peaceful. At the same time, Krishna does not take part in the affairs of the material world. He doesn't get involved in people who are material minded. But at the same time, He wants to fulfill our desires also. And simultaneously, He wants all of us to connect with Him so that we can be happy. He knows that. But we are not interested in Him. We are only interested in fulfilling our desires. So He creates a system. He tricks us into connecting with Him indirectly. Now, I read somewhere during this COVID, there was a jeweler, and naturally, during COVID, nobody is buying jewelry. Everybody is concerned about grocery. So he turned his jewelry shop into a grocery shop. Although the nameplate is still there, he will change it again. But now, this is called intelligence. He has tricked his customers. They will not come to him because they are not interested in jewelry. They are only interested in grocery. So that's what Krishna has done. All the intelligence comes from Him. We are not interested in Him. We are only interested in fulfillment of our desires. That's why we are here. Rebellious souls, only selfishness in mind. Okay, you want to get your desires fulfilled? How to attract you? So Krishna, at the beginning of the creation only, He creates the Devatas who are empowered to fulfill all the necessities of life. Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Surya, Agni, Varun Dev. They are in charge of the various necessities of life. Ganpati ji, like that. Parvati ji, you can pray to Shiva, Saraswati ji. So this way, they are empowered. But who are these devatas? Another question. These devatas are nothing but people like you and me, but with heaps and heaps of pious activities. Now, please understand Krishna's mission. We have come here leaving him behind. We don't belong here, as we discussed in the second chapter. We are spiritual beings encaged in the material body. We belong to the spiritual world. But we have left that thinking we want to fulfill our own desires, we want to be happy like that. But that's when our misery begins. We come under the laws of karma. So we have come here to trying to fulfill our desires. Krishna is very kind and he wants to connect us back to him, but at the same time, he wants to fulfill our desires also. But they are material desires. He doesn't want to get involved. So, from among the living entities who are rebelled against him, but who are a little more pious, he and these people are the ones who have a desire to enjoy. But at the same time, they have the desire to serve God also. They have no desire to get mukti, but they want to do some seva to God. At the same time, they are very pious, pure, and they want to enjoy also material world, material facilities. So Krishna picks up those living entities only from among all the living entities. Says, all right, you want to enjoy, I'll give you those facilities. But मेरे लिए काम करना पड़ेगा. Like that. Sometimes mothers tell their children, I'll give you what you want, but you have to do this work. So these are the living entities with heaps and heaps of pious activity, desires to enjoy, but also the desire to serve God. So Krishna says, okay, I have this work which I want to do. These are also my children, they have their desires, but I want to connect them back to me. But I don't want to get involved in fulfilling material desires because in the Gita and Bhagavad also Krishna says that those people who come to him with material desires, they are fools. He uses the word fools, mudha, fools. In the Bhagavad also, in the Gita also, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Because it's like going to a billionaire and asking for 10 paisa. He can give you much more. He calls such people fool and he doesn't want to deal with fools. He wants to rectify their mentality. So he tells the devatas, you be there, handle the universal government, you are empowered to fulfill the necessities, you have certain powers. These people, so Krishna in the 10th verse of the third chapter says, in the beginning of the creation, I only created this process of the yajna to connect. Yajna means for the pleasure of the Yajneshwar by which we can connect with him. Because when yajna is performed naturally, there is chanting of the mantras and the uh, if you see many histories in the past, people performed yajnas to get their desires fulfilled. So in the beginning of the creation, Krishna tells Arjuna, I created this process of yajna, rituals, and then the community of demigods, devatas. They will supply all the necessities of life in exchange of the yajnas that all of us have to perform. So all of us, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they are supposed to be engaged in yajnas because we want to get our desires fulfilled. But Krishna, there are no free lunches, as they say. He wants us to work a little bit also. Free में नहीं मिलेगा. All the devatas are there to give all the necessities of life. They are also not getting it free. They have to do some service. So he says, by the cooperation of these two, this whole thing is running. We are supposed to perform yajnas. By performing those yajnas, the devatas get power, and then in return, they supply all our necessities of life. And why are people facing scarcity of things? There are places no water, no food. Because imagine you are not paying the bill for electricity, for water. What will happen? The supply will be cut off. That's what is happening because nobody in Kali Yuga is performing yajna. So you see a lot of suffering, and people are deprived of the basic necessities of life as well. The earth is becoming more and more barren. So this is going to happen if we don't perform our prescribed duties, the yajnas that we are supposed to perform as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And this whole system of yajna, Krishna has introduced in such a way so that we can connect with him. Now I'll just show you something called yoga ladder. Very important. Now, what is this yoga ladder? Which is discussed in a set of verses, the third chapter. As I was talking about, there are rituals. People are not interested in God, they're only interested in their desires. So, how to connect such people? Krishna wants to connect them because he knows, we don't know, that we can only be happy when we are connected with him. And he wants to see us happy like a loving father. So, you can see this yoga ladder. So, there is Karm Kand, but even below this Karm Kand is a section of people who are called Karmis. Who are these Karmis? These karmis are people who are only interested in eat, drink, and be merry. Just do it. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That is the only goal of their life. That means animalistic propensities. They are on the same level as animals. They have no higher goal in life. How to eat better? Whatever they do, their goal in life is I want to do this. I want to work hard so that I can eat better, sleep better, enjoy, and defend. Mahabharat says, Dharme nahi na pashu bhi samana. Such people are on the same level as animals. So they're called karmis, only hankering to fulfill their desires, working hard, like they're called the burden, the beasts of burden. Unnecessarily, they've taken this burden upon themselves. They just want to be permanent residents of this material world. Like in our college, when I joined, I heard a new term. There is something called seniors, but then I heard a new term called super seniors. Who are these super seniors? ये super seniors are such people कि जब से कॉलेज शुरू हुआ है तब से वो लोग अभी हैं कॉलेज भी में भी वो शक्ति नहीं है उनको पास करने की फेल ही होते रहे दे आर कॉल्ड सुपर सीनियर्स सम पीपल वांट टू बी जस्ट लाइक सुपर सीनियर्स इन दिस मटेरियल दे नेवर वांट टू गेट आउट ऑफ इट they have made their goal in life eat sleep enjoy defend that is animalistic and if that is the only goal of our life which is the main goal nowadays most of the people in this world 100% to 100% they will glide down to lower species of life in the next life it is a fact. And whether we believe it or we reject it, it doesn't really matter. The laws of government, universal government never change. Consciousness के हिसाब से next body मिलता है. And if we don't have a higher goal, if we don't try to seek answers to questions like who am I, where do I come from, who is God, what is my relationship with Him, how do I become self-realized, we don't connect with God, no higher goal, which every human being is supposed to have, then definitely we are only thinking about how to eat, sleep, enjoy, and defend life. Finished. Definitely we are going to glide down to the animal species. We can't avoid it. 100%. These are called karmis. Only interested in desire. Me, I, me, and mine. And sometimes these people get frustrated because it's not within our control to get our desires fulfilled. We can desire, but we don't have the power to fulfill our desires. That's why Krishna has created the cycle of yagyas, devatas. Somebody has to supply our desires. So devatas are there, but only when we perform yajna. So we are supposed to have no free lunches. We are supposed to do something. And when these people who are only involved in the fulfillment of their desires, they get frustrated and then they want to desperately fulfill their desires. They look around and they hear about, oh, the scriptures talk about certain rituals that could be performed to get our desires fulfilled. And that's when they approach the Vedas. Now, 96% of the Vedas deal with a section called Karma Kand. What is a Karma Kand? It's a section, 96% of Vedas only deal with rituals that need to be performed to get a certain set of desires fulfilled. If you want a good wife, do this. Want a good husband, do this. Children, do this. Heavenly planets, do this. Good health, do this. So when these people get frustrated, not getting what they want, they hear, okay, there are certain rituals. There I can get my desires fulfilled. So they have started approaching the Vedas now. And these people form the first rung of the yoga ladder. And they are called Karma Kandis. First step towards God. Now they have formed the first step of the yoga ladder. They have not directly got in connection with the Lord. They have not directly got in touch with Him, but indirectly they have got connected. This is how Krishna has tricked them, invited those customers. You will not come to buy jewelry. Okay, I'll open a grocery shop. Then what do you want? Because this whole system of the Vedas and everything comes from Krishna only. So not directly, but indirectly, He has got them connected. So when they start taking help of the Vedic rituals now to get what they want, they are called Karma Kandis. And there they are made into human beings, because human beings are supposed to have some regulation in their lifestyle. Unregulated lifestyle means animal. Regulation in what you eat. So when you start performing these rituals, the priest will tell you, okay, you have to fast on this day, you have to give this much charity, you have to control your senses, don't eat this on this day, like that. Automatically, when little austerity is performed, these rituals are designed in such a way that when you engage in them, two things happen. Number one, the heart gets gradually purified, because this is coming from the Lord. Whichever way you come in touch with the Lord, you get purified. And to the degree our heart is purified, to that very degree we'll have faith in God. To that very degree we'll have desire to serve Him. So when people do not have the desire, inclination to serve God, and they cannot understand Him, that's because of the impurity of their heart. So that time people should not become arrogant, rather they should become humble. I'm so impure that I'm not able to have the desire, inclination only to serve God. And therefore, that's when we need to work upon ourselves more and more. Purify the heart. To the degree our heart gets purified, to that very degree we'll become, uh, to that very degree we'll understand God, or have the desire to serve Him, or get in touch with Him. So these rituals are designed in such a way, person who engages, two things happen. One is heart gets purified, little purification, gradual purification happens. Secondly, he also hears about some higher subject matter. अरे life सिर्फ अपने लिए ही थोड़ी है. Being selfish, I, me and mine. So then as he gets more and more purified, one day he starts thinking, yaar, let me do something for God now. Let me do some seva. Then he comes to the level of karma yoga. Now it becomes karma yoga, because he's not directly thinking about or engaging in some service to God. So what is a typical karma yogi? Once or twice in a week, he'll go to a temple. He will give some donation. He may go to a temple on Sundays, do some service. Becomes a karma. Now he's connecting with his karma, or the benefits of his karma, like his money, or he provides facilities for the Lord's service. So whatever he has acquired by means of his karma, now he is using that to connect with God. His money, hard-earned money through his karma, or is actually working in the temple, serving, cleaning the temple, serving prasad, once in a week visiting the temple, offering some flowers. So this is a typical karma yogi. So then you are now connected directly. That's why called karma yogi, using the benefits of your karma to connect with the Lord. But in karma yoga also there is a difference. There is something called nishkam karma yoga and sakam karma yoga. What is a nishkam karma yoga and sakam karma yoga? Sakam karma yoga means a person wants to serve God, but he has an expectation in mind. If I serve him, I'll get this. If I serve him, I'll get this. They have some expectation. मुझे एक पंखा डोनेट करना है मंदिर को, लेकिन ये यहीं पे लगना चाहिए, और उस पे तीनों ब्लेड्स पे मेरा और मेरे पूरे परिवार का और पूर्वजों का नाम आना चाहिए. पंखे का ब्लेड दिखना ही नहीं चाहिए. I'm just exaggerating, but कई लोग, some people do like that. Like in Dharamshala, sometimes you go, instead of the tiles, you just see the names of the whole family. ये कमरा so and so के सुपुत्र so and so ने चुन्नू मुन्नू टुन्नू चिन्निया मुनिया की याद में सन 1970 में इस दिन बनवाया, like that. They don't really. So this is called कर्म योगा. भगवान की सेवा में लोग आके रहेंगे उस कमरे में, the devotees, but इस तरह से मेरा नाम देखना चाहिए, तो इसमें ज्यादा प्यूरिफिकेशन नहीं होता है. Then there is some person who is like nishkam karma, doing it, do whatever you, I'm just giving it, use this facility or use this money whichever way you want, and I just want to serve. So that's called nishkam karma yoga, without any expectation. And when somebody performs nishkam karma yoga, then actually the purification of the heart is faster. When the heart gets more and more purified, there is more hankering to know about God. Then comes the stage of jnana yoga. You start acquiring more and more knowledge about God. And as you acquire more and more knowledge, then you understand, but then Lord is so glorious after understanding. Now let me just completely focus on Him completely. Then you come to the level of Ashtanga yoga. You start meditating on His form. This is explained in the 6th chapter of the Gita. And it is a fact that the more you meditate on the Lord's form, the more you remember Him, the more your heart gets purified. It is explained in the scriptures that uh, one moment's remembrance of Krishna has so much potency that it can uh, destroy sinful reactions coming from millions and trillions of lifetimes. Heart gets more and more purified, we become free from sinful reactions the more we remember Krishna. And as the heart gets more and more purified, that love for the Lord is fully awakened. It's explained that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunaya Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayodaya. That this love for the Lord is eternally there in everyone's heart. It's not to be gained from some outside source, but it is dormant. It has to be reawakened. How does it reawaken? Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte. By hearing and chanting about Krishna, the heart gets purified, and the purified heart, the symptom of a purified heart is that love for the Lord is there, fully manifest. But when, and that's called the stage of Bhakti Yoga, where the love is fully developed. And when somebody falls in love with the other person, naturally they don't sit quietly, it's not passive. There is activity, active service. So if I love somebody, I want to do something for that person to make him happy. That's called Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga involves direct engagement in the service of Krishna. And that is hearing about him, chanting his names, remembering him, offering our prayers, offering worship to his deity form, offering our resources in his service directly. Bhakti Yoga. So that's the highest stage, yet the simplest. Because see, Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Nishkam Karma, Sakam Karma, Karma Kand, very difficult. There's every opportunity, every possibility. You may not achieve success in these. But in Bhakti Yoga, second chapter, my Krishna has explained, even if you make little advancement, you will be protected from the greatest dangers in life. Even if you've done little chanting, little hearing, little service to Krishna or his devotees, it will save you from the greatest dangers in life. Whenever you need it the most, this devotional credit will come to save you, protect you. So you see, a child or an elderly person cannot take part in Ashtanga Yoga. Women, it will be difficult. But Bhakti Yoga, can a child dance in Kirtan? Can he chant? Can he eat prasad? Can he hear the stories of Krishna? So even an elderly person can do it. So Bhakti Yoga is the highest, yet the simplest. And you might be thinking, oh, I am at Sakam Karmi Yoga, Gyan Karmi Yoga, step by step, how many lifetimes it will take? Now there is a important point here that a person at any level, if he's a level of Karma Kand or Sakam Karma, Nishkam or Jnana Ashtanga, if somehow or the other a person on any of these levels, he comes in touch with a Bhakti Yogi, then directly such people can be elevated to the level of Bhakti Yoga, the highest, immediately. It's like there is a staircase and there is the elevator. So you have to climb the staircase one by one, but somehow somebody just invites you into the elevator. You just have to stand and somebody else will press the button. That person will take you. So Bhakti Yoga is like that. Bhakti Yogi is like that. Even if you're the level of Sakam Karmi Yoga, if we somehow come in touch with the devotee of the Lord who is engaging in Bhakti, he can directly elevate us to the Bhakti Yoga cycle. So after explaining this, Krishna says, so we have to understand whichever level we are at and we try to connect with the Lord, try to serve him. So it doesn't really matter Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, especially in Kali Yuga. Now, this is an ideal situation where Krishna has explained duties, yagyas for Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. What are the duties? What are the yagyas that they need to perform? Their duties are their yagya. And of course, then other types of rituals are also mentioned. But essentially, it means doing your duties properly as a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or Shudra, because that will please the Lord, and that is called a yagya. Yagya means for his pleasure. But in Kali Yuga, who is a Brahmana? Where are the real Brahmanas? Where are the real Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras? Hardly anybody. So which yagyas to perform? Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, in his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, he mentions, quoting various scriptures, in Kali Yuga, only one yagya is recommended. You just do that. Whether you're a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra, you will become perfect and you will please Krishna. And that is Sankirtan Yagya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Primarily, Sankirtan Yagya means chanting and singing the names of Krishna, specifically this mantra which comes from the Kali Santarana Upanishad, and also speaking from Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, Yajna, Kirtan, Sankirtan Yajna. Because Kirtan comes from the word Kirti, which is called glory, and Kirtan means glorification. So study Bhagavatam, hear Bhagavatam regularly, and chant the holy names of the Lord, Mahamantra regularly. These two activities are enough to please the Yogeshwar, whoever we are. This is how we can connect from wherever we are. And Krishna says that anybody who does not follow this cycle of yajna is living a life of sin. And he specifically talks about people who eat food without offering it to me for my satisfaction. They are verily eating sin. So, as I said, Gita is not a yoga shastra. It doesn't ask us to reject anything. It just asks us to connect from whichever level we are at. And just like we like to eat food, now we are not forbidden from eating. Offer it to Krishna first with tulasi, chant the Mahamantra, request the Lord to accept, leave it in front of you for 5 minutes. Then accept it. Who is stopping us from eating? We like to earn money, do it. But then use part of it in the service of Krishna. Give it for service. Give it for services which are uh, for His pleasure. That way, the rest of the money that you have, it gets purified. That is the concept of charity. So gradually, whatever, if you have a nice house, we can have nice satsang, or the family regularly can come together to worship Him at least once in a day. So this way, we are not forbidden from living in the house we are living. We are not forbidden from enjoying. We are not forbidden from earning money. But whatever we have, try to serve Krishna with that. That is the message of Gita. And then whatever we do becomes yajna. That is called yajna. Whatever we have, try to sacrifice a part of it, our time, energy, resources, money, in the service of the Lord. Then you are actually perfectly doing yajna. And the highest yajna is, according to Kali Yuga, Sankirtan Yajna. Regularly chant His names and hear about His message from the Bhagavatam, His Katha, Gita, like that. And Krishna says, anybody who does not live this way, who is not doing this, he is very living a life of sin. Because every work, any good activity minus God is called pious activity. And of course, sinful activity is sinful. So, and both have a reaction, whether the reaction is pleasurable or not pleasurable, both are binding, both cause bondage, and we still remain bound to this cycle of birth and death. We still have to keep coming back, go through various species of life. And human life is meant for ending this cycle of birth and death, not further complicating it. Human life is meant for not expanding our obligations in this world. It is meant for winding up our obligations in this material world, which we have been uh, living up to, either as an animal or a bird or a human being or a devta. Human life is the best chance where we can wind it up, finish off every little bit of karma, rectify all mistakes, and go back to where we belong, the eternal spiritual world, which is free from any miseries. So wind it up, not expand it. If we have fever, so we should do something to get rid of that fever, not to increase that fever. So when a human being's duties are defined by the scriptures, he must inquire about Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where will I go? What is the purpose of life? How do I re-establish my relationship with God? How do I serve Him? How do I please Him? A human being is expected to do this. It's not like, I don't like doing it. I don't know whether I would like to do it. No, if you are wearing the uniform of a policeman, you cannot say that I want to go to the police station today, I want to do my duty. You are wearing the dress of a policeman, you are expected to do it. Similarly, the body is compared to a garment in the Gita. If you are wearing this uniform of a human being, we are expected to make these inquiries, we are expected to connect with God, we are expected to serve Him. And we don't have the inclination, that's a great sign of misfortune. So we have to understand, and then wherever we are, begin somewhere, begin that yoga somewhere, and then our good fortune will be created. So now Krishna says that anybody who's not doing this is living a life of sin. And sin means whether you're good or bad, it is a sin. What is sin? Which keeps you bound to the cycle of birth and death. only when we connect with God, Krishna, only He has the power to destroy all our karma and give us liberation. That is why only He is known as Mukunda, Mukti Data, Mukunda. So if you're not doing something to connect with Him, if you're not doing something to satisfy with Him, then we are simply being do good or be good or engage in sinful activities. We are bound. We are kept bound. So that means we are performing sinful activities. Even pious activity is a sin in the sense that it keeps us bound to the material world. So therefore, if you want to be liberated, if you want to be free, you want to be happy, we need to connect. And if we don't do that, Krishna says then one is living a life of sin. Absolutely. This is the Supreme Lord saying. We should not become egoistic. Now, how can he say that? He knows best. And he's just speaking all these things out of compassion. And further, Krishna says that people who are self-realized, who have followed the cycle of yajna, when they become self-realized, their consciousness becomes divine, they become thoroughly purified, they do not have any obligation in this world because they've already achieved the goal of all obligation. Ultimately, they have accepted the Supreme Lord as the absolute truth. They are engaged in His service. They don't have any work to do in this material world because they've achieved all these rituals and prescribed duties. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra are meant to gradually elevate us to a place or a level where we can understand ultimately God is to be served. Somebody who has achieved that consciousness, he doesn't have any prescribed duty to perform in this world. He's freed from all obligations. But still, Krishna says one must work because Arjuna would have then taken an excuse that okay, Krishna, I'm very close to you, I'm already self-realized, so that gives me the option to run away from doing your duty, doing my duty. But then Krishna is not speaking the Gita for Arjuna, he's speaking it for all of us. So if he had allowed Arjuna to run away, even though he was self-realized, he was not duty-bound to fight. But through Arjuna, Krishna wanted to teach us an important lesson. Prescribed duties must be performed, shouldn't run away. Even if you are self-realized, Krishna is saying, still you should do it as a service to others because you're in a leadership position. Now, Krishna talks about the leaders. Because the people who are at the leadership position, that means who have some influence on others. A mother is a leader, father is a leader for their children. Then there are other leaders. In the corporate world, you find leaders. Said, so people would have taken an excuse, Arey Arjun bhi to chala gaya tha, hum bhi nahi karenge. So Krishna didn't want anybody to do that. Kalyug mein, if you give little, these people see little loophole and they want to just expand it just to justify their lifestyle. So Krishna did not want to leave any loophole. So he said, no, Arjuna, you're in leadership position. If you run away, others will also run away. They will not understand that you run away out of compassion. They will not know that. They will think simply, they will use it as a justification to not perform their prescribed duty. They will say, Arjun ne kaha kiya to hum bhi kyun kare? Says, so people who are in the leadership position, you are in a leadership position, you're a prince, you're a kshatriya. Even if you are free from obligations, you become self-realized, still you perform your prescribed duties just to teach others how to live in this world. So the great souls live in this world. They are in this world, but they are not of this world. They just live to teach others how to do it. And then Krishna quotes two people. So look at Maharaj Janak. He specifically quotes Maharaj Janak's name, Mother Sita's father. He was living as a king. He was handling kingdoms, people. He had queens, family. Still, he perfected his life. Because Gita, Krishna is sending out a message. He knows that in Kali Yuga, it is specifically spoken for people in Kali Yuga. He knows that people in Kali Yuga would not be able to live a life of renunciation or whatever. They would mostly be living in family. So he's specifically speaking the Gita to a family man, quoting the example of a family man like Janak. That while living in your family life, while doing your business, running your affairs, you can achieve perfection of life. Like Janak Maharaj, he said. Now, Janak Maharaj was such an elevated soul. He would rule his kingdom, run his empire, but at the same time, he would also dedicate some time of the day in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. This is what is required, nothing else. Dedicate some portion of the day to hear, remember, chant the Lord's names. And if you all need help, I can help you. Many others have also been messaging me for some specific schedule. Even if you have 10 minutes, you say, I just have 10 minutes, Prabhuji, 20 minutes. doesn't matter. Accordingly, I can give you that uh, schedule to follow by which we can start somewhere to connect with him. So he's saying that even living in a family, Janak Maharaj also performed his duty, even though he was self-realized, teaching it to others, because otherwise, thinking about him, people will also start imitating. They would not know how to follow in the footsteps. So he says, you are an experienced man. Yadi acharati shreshta. Jaisa jaisa bade log kaam karte hain, common people follow. So you should work to set an example. You should be exemplary in your behavior. So leaders are supposed to be exemplary. There should be no fault in their character. And in that sense, everybody is more or less a leader. We do have influence on others. So all of us are supposed to be exemplary in our character, in our behavior. He quotes his own example. Look, Krishna, he says, I am Krishna. I'm the creator, maintainer, destroyer of this world. I have nothing to do. Scriptures talk about natasya karyam karanam chavidyate. I have nothing to do. Still, I am engaged in work. I'm working as a chariot driver. I'm serving my children. I'm serving my kingdom. I'm serving my family. Just to set an example, Arjuna, that even if we are self-realized, when we are in a influential position, we must set the right example. Like parents must set the right example for their children, because children do not learn what from what they hear from their parents. They learn by seeing their example. There was a nice line I read some time back that well-behaved children do not come from well-taught parents. They come from well-behaved parents. Well-behaved children come from well-behaved parents, not from well-taught parents. There's a big difference. So once somebody has some influential position, he has to be exemplary. Krishna gives his own example, and they have to work in a way that others are inspired by them, not discouraged. They have to set the right example. And Krishna continues to explain how this cycle, therefore, working in this way. And how do these people work? They work, but internally they are detached. So Krishna is indicating that attachment or detachment is not about externals. It is all about internal. Externally, you may be working like a pounds and shillings man in this world, but internally be attached to Krishna. Internally, your heart must be given to him. Internally, you must be remembering him. In that way, we need to work in this world. As Krishna tells Arjuna, uh, you work, you fight, and at the same time remember me. That is the message of the Gita. You work, do your prescribed duties, so many duties you all must have, and at the same time internally think of him. And how do we think of him? Unless we hear about him, chant his name, spend some time exclusively dedicated to him. Therefore, our exclusive spiritual practice during the day is a must. That will help us remember the Lord during our prescribed work in this world, whether we are running a business or living in a family, raising a family, whatever. And that way, then whatever we do will become free from karma. So work with detachment from within, not from without. Continue your prescribed duties and internally be attached to the Lord. Think of him. Then your work becomes worship. Arjuna hears this. Now he has another question. He has understood everything. He wants to clarify his own position. That then Krishna, even if we know that what is right, then what is that force which drives us in the opposite direction? We know this is what is supposed to, but something just keeps pulling us in the opposite direction. What is that? Krishna answers, it is lust, Arjuna. Lust only, the all-devouring sinful enemy of every living entity. Now, what is lust? The scriptures have described in simple language the desire to satisfy one's own senses is lust. I want to eat the best thing. I want to enjoy independently. I don't want anybody. I don't want God in my life. Me, mine. That is lust. Only thinking constantly about myself. He says, so it must be destroyed, Krishna says, with the weapon of knowledge, with the weapon of spiritual intelligence. Intelligence coming from Guru and Krishna. And in order to destroy, he says, this is the greatest enemy of a living entity, lust. The selfishness, I, me, and mine. In one sense, the selfish desire. It's only about me. When a person is in that consciousness, how will we think about others? How will you think about God then ultimately? So it is that sinful desire, and desire is something which we can cultivate. So that unless we give up that desire of I, me, and mine, how will we think about others? How will we think about God? Says that is the root cause of suffering that keeps pulling us in the opposite direction. I, me, and even if you want to do something for somebody, no, I, me, and mine, it is very deep rooted. It pulls us in the wrong direction. And this enemy must be destroyed. Now, in order to be able to destroy the enemy, we need to know where this enemy lives, right? Then only we can destroy. So Krishna says there are three sitting places of this enemy: the mind, the intelligence, and the senses. Where does lust reside? In the mind, the intelligence, and the senses. So it must be destroyed. So how to kill that lust? That means how to purify our mind, intelligence, senses, because lust makes them impure. So how do we purify them? There are three ways. For mind, I'll end with this. To purify the mind is called man. And therefore the scriptures have recommended the process. Manas trayate iti mantra. To purify the man, the process is mantra. So when you chant, sometimes people ask, what does this Hare Krishna chanting accomplish? I have simple answer. It is the ultimate medicine for the mind. And you will realize it. If you don't believe me, try it out for a few days. Give it up if it doesn't work. But you will experience such transformation, such peace of mind. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, to purify the mind, where lust is sitting, we have mantra. How does the intelligence get purified? It is explained intelligence gets purified by scriptural study. You can regularly study the scriptures or hear from the scriptures. Very soon you will start getting your intelligence purified. And intelligence का function क्या है? To discriminate, to know what is right, to do what is right, to avoid what is wrong. That is the function. So if we regularly hear from the Gita, Bhagavad, then our intelligence becomes very sharp. With sharp intelligence, we can take the right decisions in life. This way, the intelligence gets purified. Chanting purifies the man. Scriptural study purifies the intelligence. And senses. How do we purify the senses? There are 5 senses: eyes, nose, touch, skin, ears, and our skin, eyes, nose, ears, and eyes. One is remaining. Anyways, so how do you purify the eyes? Eyes want to look at different objects. When you regularly spend some time seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, you may have a picture or a deity at home. Just spend some time, maybe 10 minutes, just meditating on the beautiful form of the Lord, starting from his lotus feet, gradually rising towards his face. This way, the eyes get purified. Ears get purified by regularly hearing his katha, his message, Gita, Bhagavatam. Spend some time. Nose gets purified by smelling the tulsi and flowers offered at his feet. And the skin, touch, sense of touch gets purified by touching the deity of the Lord, by touching the paraphernalia used in his service, like flowers or prasad, whatever. If you touch it, you can clean the temple of the Lord. And the tongue has 2 functions: to taste and to vibrate. The tongue gets purified by vibrating the name of the Lord and by tasting the food which is offered to God first. Prasad. Prasad literally means mercy. Once it is offered to Krishna, it doesn't remain an ordinary food. It becomes spiritualized and it has the potency to directly intervene in and even change our karma. That is the power of the prasad. So mind becomes purified by chanting mantra, intelligence by scriptural study, and our senses by these activities which we just discussed. And if we can do these activities on a regular basis, that means we are connected to the Lord regularly. We are doing karma yoga. We are established. While we are performing our karma, we are also connected with Him. That's called yoga. And gradually we purify our mind, intelligence, and senses. And as I mentioned in the beginning, when the person leaves this world, the gross body is left behind, but the subtle body goes with the soul. Subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, and ego. So if the mind, intelligence, and the ego are not purified, then the next body and destination will be an impure one. That means we have missed the bus. We have basically lost the opportunity which was given to us as a human being. So it's very important to purify our mind, ego, intelligence, senses, so that our next destination, whenever we have to leave this world, will be a purified one. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So just you can uh, understand this whole chapter in 4 letters. The acronym is TREE. First 9 verses talk about Tyaga, renunciation. Arjuna is asking whether should I renounce or should I work. Krishna talks about what is real renunciation. You don't have to renounce. You can't live without working according to nature. So we have to work, but work in a way so that there is no reaction. That's called renunciation. The renunciation, the reaction, the action, the mentality of acting has to be renounced. You have to work for his pleasure. And then text number 10 to 16 talk about the yoga ladder, which we discussed, how the process of yajna has been created to connect us back with the Lord, and gradually we rise up. And if we come in touch with the Supreme Bhakti Yogi, then we immediately rise up. We can directly engage in the service to the Lord, Bhakti Yoga, which is the highest and the simplest. And text number 17 to 35 explain Krishna exemplary behavior, how one must continue to act externally working but internally attached to Krishna, to set an example for others, because otherwise people follow great people and they will not understand why people are rejecting their duties. They will not understand because of their attachment to the Lord. So they will imitate them, give up their own prescribed duties, also continue to act. That is the letter E. And last letter is also text number 36 to 42, or whatever the last verse is also the letter E, enemy, where Krishna is talking about the enemy, lust, and how it needs to be purified. Know the sitting places, the mind, intelligence, the senses, and get them purified. This kill that enemy. Then you can have the uh, next destination, a purified one, the body, a purified one, achieve the ultimate goal of human life. Hare Krishna. I stop here. Any questions? I can take just one question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much
Hare Krishna.
for making everything so simple.
Sab Pavitra tha. Pavitra sir.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, there is one question. Sarvari Acharya is asking, Arjun was a pure devotee. So, is he still under modes of nature that he will be forced to act as Kshatriya, or he has to perform to set an example?
No, it is clearly explained. He was not under the modes because he wanted to run away and live a life of renunciation. A pure devotee of the Lord is never under the 3 gunas. They are under Krishna directly, who is himself free from 3 gunas. But here he is made an instrument by Krishna to teach others. That's why he's saying you may be beyond this, but he says, Arjuna, still act to set an example for others. That's why he has spoken verses from 17 to 35, just to convince him that you may be very compassionate, you may not want to fight out of compassion, you are elevated, but others will not understand this. So just act, do your prescribed duty to set an example for others.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So,
Yeah, I can take one more 5 minutes.
Prabhuji, at the moment there's no question over there. So
Sab confusing lagta hai.
everything is very clear. Okay, Dr. Ritu is asking, Prabhuji, please expand the acronym TREE again. R, renunciate.
For T is Tyaga. First 9 verses, Krishna talks about what is real renunciation, whether Arjuna should renounce work or should he work. Then R is rungs of yoga ladder, 10 to 16. Rungs of yoga ladder, RUNGS. Then 17 to 35 is again the letter E, which is exemplary behavior. And last is enemy, 36 to the last verse, tree. This is how you can remember.
So there is one, Prabhuji, Deepak Roira. He's saying, can he unmute and speak himself and ask you the question?
Push लीजिए, push लीजिए.
Okay, sure.
हाँ जी, बोलिए.
Prabhuji, I'll have to unmute. I'm just looking for, sorry, I'm not so tech savvy, so I'll take some time to.
No problem. Unmute करना है ना उनको.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm just looking for Prabhuji.
Deepak.
Doctor, I found. Prabhuji, I have unmuted you. Dr.
Krishna
Deepak.
Prabhuji, Dhanad Pranam.
हाँ जी तनु.
Prabhuji, I would like to know how we can purify our false ego. Like you had explained about 3 stages. Like mind, we can purify by chanting, and intelligence by hearing to the scriptures. And what about the false ego? How we can purify that one?
Are you married?
Yes, I'm married. Yes, I have one daughter also.
अच्छा अच्छा. Okay. So the way to purify false ego is surrendering to a guru.
Okay.
Only guru can purify. Voluntary surrender. Therefore, it is a imperative to have a bona fide guru because only he can purify it. बाकी कोई purify करने का कोशिश करेगा तो उससे हमारा बढ़ जाएगा. But guru purifies, and of course through devotional service it gets purified essentially when you chant, because false ego is a disease of the heart. So you might think अरे गुरु ने अभी क्या करें, but follow the process which is shown by our gurus. Chanting the holy names, hearing the Bhagavad, these things purify the heart.
Okay.
And then heart purify, it is dissolved. Material world में crush होता है, spiritual realm में dissolve हो जाता है. Dissolve is very very peaceful. So chant the names of Krishna and automatically, because humility against false ego, as against false ego, is a natural symptom of the soul, and we are potentially divine. We just have to, the false ego is like a covering of dirt over that divine nature. So when you chant, hear, regularly engage in devotional service to Krishna, the dirt is removed. That means false ego is removed, and all that is left is our divine nature. So intensify your devotional practices, that will purify.
Prabhuji, I'm attending my 16 rounds daily on a regular basis, and I'm here with ESCON from 2018.
Okay.
I had done my aspiration also, so I'm on my way for the shelter. But when you tell me about surrendering, so surrendering means like once I get the diksha from the Guru Maharaj.
Surrender means surrendering to the instructions.
Okay, surrendering to the instructions. Okay.
So know what your guru tells you to do that. Follow.
So in normal course, you are following the 4 regulative principles, chanting holy names like 16 rounds daily, doing
This is
Ekadashi
surrender.
fasting and all.
Surrender means just follow the process. Surrender to the process.
Okay.
Process of hearing, chanting, remembering. That is surrender.
Okay.
So Prabhuji, there is one question that when somebody's asking that, our children, so should we start them through that same ladder, ask them to bow down to the devatas and then go in that
No.
order?
वो सब करने की जरूरत नहीं है. If you know the highest path, why don't just give them the highest path? That is for the ignorant. जिनको पता नहीं है तो धीरे धीरे वो बिना जाने ही they keep getting धीरे धीरे ऊपर. But if you know the highest path, just directly engage them.
Yes, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, one more question. They're asking Lord Vishnu is which Shakti of Lord Krishna?
No, he's Krishna only in a different role. Just like Father, God at home and God at office. So Vishnu is God at office, Krishna is God at home. At the same time, Krishna is the origin of Vishnu. So one is the origin of the other. That's the only difference. Otherwise, power-wise, ये सब में कोई difference नहीं है ज़्यादा.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
we'll wait
else?
for our next session of chapter 4.
Yeah,
Next
4th chapter.
on Thursday.
चलो, सब
Thank
पवित्र रहें. The more I use the word pavitra, the more they smile. Hare Krishna. Chalo.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Have a Pavitra day.